Hello YouTube, my name is David Boucher and welcome to day 35 of my 6-month life transformation chronicle. It's Sunday afternoon here, so I hope you're having a great end of the weekend and that you've gotten some productive things done, but also you've managed to enjoy it as well. So we'll get into it. One of the things I'm thinking about today, yesterday I talked about business insurance, so that's kind of a practical consideration. Well, now it's a very tangible practical consideration, which is transportation. So to give you a little bit of background, I'm starting at this new client hopefully in the next week, I hope. But the office is not close. It's probably 15 to 20 miles away each way. And I don't have a car. So I was at a point almost 6 months ago now. I had this car which had quite a few miles on it. It was an Acura. When I was driving less and less, so when I was at the consulting firm, I went a good 2 years without needing to drive to a client. Either I'd work from the office, which is downtown, or I would be traveling, or I would just be in the office. And when I say downtown, Houston has very little public transportation, but I live on one of our main train lines, and so I could get downtown using the train. So I just never used the car. But it got to the point where every time I would drive it, something would fail, and it would be first $1,000 to fix, then $1,500, then $2,000. In the end, I just said forget it, and so I was gonna just make do with my wife's car, and that worked fine while I was working at the firm, or indeed while I get to work from home. But this particular client is outside of city limits, and so now I have no car. I can't get there on a train, and so I'm having to consider my options. And so here's what I'm thinking so far, and obviously I'm open to hearing from everyone else, but I get the feeling that if you don't live in America, your public transportation options, which would be my first choice, are probably a lot fuller than I have here. And so I think these are probably pretty specific to this part of the country where you just really need a car to get around. But with that said, here's what I'm thinking. So first choice obviously would be Lyft. So I use Lyft a lot for short trips. It is very convenient, but that's off the table because we estimated the ride cost, and two-way would be $80 a week, or $80 a day, $40 each way, so $400 a week. And if you're looking at a minimum of, if it's, right now the contract says 2 weeks per quarter, so if we're saying 2 weeks per quarter, you're saying $400 a week, so times 2 is $800, and then per quarter is $3,200. That's a lot of money, right? And if it stretches on, then you're looking at an even bigger outlay, which then gets me to my next option, which is just buying a really cheap used car. So Toyotas, Lexuses, they hold their value incredibly well. They also go for extremely high amounts of miles. I've seen them upwards of 200,000 miles being sold. And so my idea would just be, drop $5,000 or $6,000, or even better, get a loan for $5,000 or $6,000. Have like a $150 a month payment and just use that to get to and from work. That's not ideal because there's risk, and I could land on the one lemon that only goes for 125 or 150,000 miles, right? But that's still an option. So option 1 is Lyft. Option 2 is buying the cheap used car. The other choice would be, they have services now just like Airbnb where you can use other people's cars. And that runs, I think, $20 to $30 a day, which wouldn't be so bad. Then you're talking a much cheaper option than the Lyft. Obviously, you're driving yourself, but that's where the difference in cost comes from. There's no app to use other than just for renting the car. So that could definitely be something that I explore. Another option would be leasing a car for a low monthly payment, but that's pretty much right off the table because there's a down payment and then you're locked in for a bunch of years. But having said that, there's a website I found, and it's just one of many, I'm sure, called Lease Trader, where actually you're taking over people's leases for them. So let's say they have a 24-month lease. Someone's already made the down payment. It's $200 a month. They have 12 months left. Well, I just paid $200 a month for 12 months, which is good. You get a newer car. But as with any lease, there's a mileage limit. And on top of that, you're still locked in for 12 months worth of payments. But that would still be a better value than using Lyft, for example, for 8 weeks out of the year at $400 a week, we said, right? And then finally, another option, which isn't really an option, is, well, it's actually next to last option, is the bus. And my wife and I have looked up the bus route. It would be almost 2 hours each way with, I think, 56 stops. So not an option, and just again shows you how unrobust, well, I don't want to say unrobust the public transportation system is. It's a very large city. And then just to fill you in, another option, which I've already written off the table, was that my wife's parents have a car and they're traveling for a long time. I was thinking maybe I could borrow theirs, but they're not too keen on putting high mileage on a car that they use as a runaround and already has a lot of mileage, right? So just letting you know that, because that's another option. So yeah, I don't want to keep going on too long, because this is not of particularly importance to you, the viewer. This is, I think, just me speaking through the process and my options. But as you can tell, transportation, it is a big deal. It is something that I've been thinking about, and just putting all this out there so that hopefully you guys have some feedback or comments, and let me know how you did it. So again, topic that's probably only interesting to me at this point, so I'll stop there. But hope you guys have a great, productive rest of the day, a good rest of the weekend, and I will see you tomorrow for video 36. All right, thank you so much.